Baby Crayzo. I'm from Raymond Avenue Crip. I'm from all sides, but I actually represent 102nd Street. Sitting down with Kev Mack today to answer some of the critics and also send a positive message and also a perspective from a little homie's point of view.
Kev Mack video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mack video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby. Kev Mack video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mack video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby. For the dime moves and the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf, I know them killers you kin to. This for the lost generation, broke as hell, mad and impatient. But if you know your history, you can't have a strong foundation, baby. Kev Mack video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mack video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby.
Growing up as a kid, how did you perceive the OGs of the neighborhood?
Growing up as a kid, perceiving the OGs, you have different forms of OGs. You have OGs that are quote unquote actually OGs that are actually active and push that line and do what they do. And then you got OGs that are in the neighborhood, no discredit to them, but they not the actual ones putting in the work, doing things like that. And then you have some OGs that, you know, maybe the lifestyle or upbringing, whatever the case may be, are not as mentally as strong as certain OGs, and they might have drinking habits, drug problems, whatever the case may be. But nevertheless, they are OGs.
A lot of OGs from different neighborhoods turn out to be smokers, crackheads and shit. Some on Sherm.
Yeah.
How does a brother view his big homies as like that? What type of example are they setting for the kids?
Well, when you first come to realize and understand what it is and that the homie has a problem or whatever he may be going through, immediately there's a letdown because the myth or the hero status that he has within the neighborhood is kind of a shot to that reputation, so to speak. You know, but don't get it twisted. Some OGs still maintain, you know what I'm saying, the status quo. But those that fall off, as you get later on in life, you understand that people go through things. But you definitely look at them with negative undertones, you know what I'm saying, once they start doing weak shit around the neighborhood and, you know, doing buster shit or what have you. You saying to yourself, damn, man, this a G from the set, but, you know, the alcohol or the alcohol or the drugs, you know, might have a stronger toll on them. So it's a huge disappointment from a little homie looking up to an OG when he succumbs to drugs and things of that nature.
What impact does that have on an OG's reputation?
It has a lot of impact because sometimes the OGs don't come back from it. You know, and not only when the OGs take a fall like that far as getting into drugs and things of that nature or doing, you know, things that certain homies or younger homies wouldn't approve of, it causes a fracture in the structure of that neighborhood. Because you got to remember, the G is the one who lays the foundation and sets the order and the course and the example for everything that's going to go on, be it negative or positive.
So you looked up to a lot of the older guys?
Absolutely. As far as this cripping go, the Raymonds have a rich history, and a lot of my OGs are their names are synonymous with cripping. So being a Raymond, it was always something to live up to, so to speak, because certain foundations were set inside of prisons and also outside of prisons that we necessarily had to live up to. It was a must.
What would you say to the critics that would say, why would you look up to people that's destroying the black community?
Well, as a child, you don't see as destroying your own community, excuse me, because you got to think on that dummy box, which is I'm talking about the television. Those things are projected in our household. So for us to look outside or go outside and see it outside of our window, we think that's just a natural occurrence, and that's the way life's supposed to be, growing up in the hood, quote unquote.
At what point did you realize that we need peace and need to stop destroying our own community?
An eye-opener for myself, and I can't speak for other homies, not only from my neighborhood, but other neighborhoods, but the eye-opener for myself was when I was on trial for a homicide, and we were waiting for the judge to come. He happened to be in late, I guess, back in chambers, whatever the case may be. I was turning around saying, hey, certain family members I hadn't seen, in a while, and who were there for support, my mom's aunt, what I'm saying, different, like I said, different family members, girlfriend, whatever. And as I'm turning around, I happen to make eye contact with the victim's mother, along with other family members. But me and her caught eye contact, and I was giving no crazy looks or anything like that, because whether they're on my side of the fence or not, I never disrespect my elders. And at that moment, as I turned back around to face back forward, I knew right then and there that this had to stop, because I'm turning around talking to my family, and they there in support of me, and at the same time, that side of the courtroom, as well as that man's mother, was there in support for him. But everybody had the same look on their face. One side of the courtroom had lost a son, and another side of the courtroom was about to lose one. So right then and there, at that moment, I knew that things had to change with me as far as the direction of my life.
So when you get out, how did you change your life?
I came home September of 2010. Like I said, my mother passed away 6 weeks before I came home, and we held off on her funeral until I came home, being that I was her only child. For me, there was no way in the world it was going to be any type of funeral service without me attending or being there. So, unfortunately enough, family members made it possible for my mother's body to be held and things like that until I came home. So 2 weeks after I came home, we had my mother's services, and that was tough. But at the same time, a friend of mine sent me a letter right before I came home, but it was actually after my mother passed away. And as I was reading the letter, it said, and I actually can't remember verbatim, so I'm paraphrased. It said that she had told my mom, hey, can't nothing happen to you, before that boy come home, or you can't pass away or get sick or anything of that nature. He'll go crazy if something happened to you. And it was stated in the letter, and also told to me once I got face to face with that person, that my mother looked them in their eye with 100% conviction and said, oh, my baby, I'm not worried about him. He gonna be all right. So with that statement right now, that statement right there from my mother still motivates me to this day. So I came home with a motivation that my mother believed that everything she instilled in me, that I would put it one day to something positive and turn my life around.
Do you have any kids?
Oh, yes, I do. I have 3 children. Like I said, I was running the streets real hard, so I didn't have children until late in life. So my oldest son, he'll be 6 in October. And then I have 2 twins. They're 4 years old.
You working?
Yes. I'm driving trucks. It's crazy that you mentioned the square thing, because for the first time in my life, I'm doing square business. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny, just from the highs and the lows of being in the streets and hustling and state to state, selling drugs and, doing all kind of stuff, to now, I would say the best years of my life, minus the youth, doing the right thing and being a positive example, and, having the opportunity to raise my children.
That's a blessing.
Absolutely.
Give me the rundown from your childhood to where you at today.
Mother and father was together in the 70s. I was born. Um, Funny story. My mother told me when I was 3 months old. Him and my mom was out of town, so to speak. I'm born and raised in California. Mom born and raised in California, but Papa was a Rolling Stone, so he was a gangster and hung with all them old gangsters back in the days, and he was a BGF and things of that nature. And he was just in the streets doing whatever he do. So him and Mom was out of town. I was about approximately 3 months old, if I'm not mistaken, from what she tells me, and they had got into a physical altercation. Mom jumped on an airplane by herself and called my grandmother and said, you better go get your grandson, because I'm out of there. And from that point on, Moms and Pops was never together. So Mom's pretty much raised me by herself, man. And it was a good thing. She instilled a lot of values in me, and it was what it was. But as far as me growing up, for the most part, I always predominantly stayed on the west side. When I was real small, baby, me and Mom stayed off of Imperial and Western, what is known as the 11-5 and 111 neighborhoods. I was a baby. Then from there, we moved to West LA, what would be considered now a gear gang hood. I was there as a youth. Went to elementary school and things of that nature. Mom sent me to elementary school, private school, 1st through 6th grade, K. Anthony off of 84th and Crenshaw. And that's a story within itself. But from there, we kind of moved around. And actually, it's a funny thing within my neighborhood. We have 3 different sides. But as far as 120th Street and 102nd Street, me and Mom's actually for a couple of years lived off of 127th and Raymond Ave, right on the corner. And I would always be at Helen Keller Park playing Little League Baseball, 85, 86, all that, playing Little League Baseball. So a lot of my G homies now remembered me as a kid. And fast forward, to the gang thing, how I happened to be from 102nd Street, because I have a cousin. My aunt always stayed on 102nd Street on the Freeman side, where the homie Big T grew up at. So I would always go back and forth. So now that I represent 102nd Street, a lot of the homies always kid around with me. Baby Crayzo, you grew up over here. How the hell you from 102nd Street and things of that nature? But I can say I was always destined to be a Raymond. But I also have family in Compton. So on that side, on my mom's side of the family, they all Damus. I got a lot of my family is Damus. So I was always familiar with the blood and Crip thing. And that had a big influence on my childhood, especially ages 10, 11, 12. Me and Mom would go back and forth to Compton a lot. Like I would always visit my family members out there. And on the Damu side. And my big cousin, my older cousin, Kevin Dykes. That's my cousin, love him to death. And I had another cousin, Lamar. He got killed when I was young. Had a fight with a person, and person couldn't, take that ass whooping, and came back and killed my cousin. But from a young age, when moms had got involved in drugs and things of that nature, kind of the reins was left off me. Even though I was going to private school, that private school actually became a gift and a curse for me. I commend her a lot. I could see her blueprint, and I can understand it now to this day, although she wasn't able to follow through with it as far as me getting to the streets or being involved in the streets and her succumbing with her own issues or demons, so to speak. But what I was alluding to was I was in Compton going back and forth, from the west side back and forth, visiting my family members, and I seen back over there in Compton, man, they had a street called Dwight Street or Dwight Avenue. And that was like New Jack City on a flat surface, and I was able to see all the drugs selling from Sherm to pills, weed, cocaine, crack, whatever the case may be. I was able to see it and get a front row seat for it because of who my family was, and like everybody knowing me in the neighborhood and all my family, because that's like a close-knit neighborhood. So I was exposed to a lot of things, so I was able to process them not on a kid level, as a 10, 11, 12 year old, but as on a teenage level, I was able to process what was going on, and that's when I first got introduced to power. My cousin KD, he was a very influential figure in that neighborhood, and I could see and I could break down and understand when he walked around, how dudes tuck their chains and give him whatever he wanted, kind of in a Debo perspective, so to speak. If I want to correlate it to something modern day where people could understand, so I was always able to understand power. So once I witnessed all those things, and at about 11 years old, I won't say those names on camera, but I was selling drugs in a rock house at 11 years old, back when they had half a tracks and things like that. They got different names for them now, but I was exposed to that, so that led to the seed being planted for wanting money and always wanted a pocket full of money. So that was instilled in me at a young age. Plus, all my family, grandmoms, dad, both grandmas, everybody was hustlers. So that gene was, born in me.
So when you say Damus and Compton, you talking about the Pirus?
Yeah. The Pirus, the 151s. Yeah, those a lot of my family is from there.
And then, so once you start getting in your teens, what happened?
Funny thing is, Pops got out of prison and came and got me, because mom's, what I'm saying, she was going through her struggles or whatever. Pops came and got me, so I went to live with grandmas. But by this time, and funny thing, back to the Compton thing, for mom came and got me, being that I was already staying off 127th and Raymond, I used to go around claiming Raymond. You know what I'm saying? And my cousins out there in Compton, like, boy, you ain't no Crip, you ain't none of that, woo woo. But it was what it was. So by the time Pops came and got me, I went to stay with grandmoms, and I'm going to junior high school, whatever the case may be. So back on my pop side, my cousin, he's an actual Raymond from 102nd Street. You know what I'm saying? So there was the connection. You know what I'm saying? For good or bad, I guess you could say I was always destined to be a Raymond Avenue Crip. Because once I got with grandma, I was able to hang with my big cousin. One thing he said to me, nigga, ain't no excuse. Matter of fact, I ain't even use that term. He said, ain't gonna be no Damus in this family. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty much set in stone when your big cousin make the call. You know what I'm saying? So I started gang banging and hanging out. I had ran away from home because by that time, I wanted new shoes and things like that, and I just wanted to do things my way. So therein lies and how the connection came as far as me becoming a gang member at such a young age, 13, 14, 15 years old, hanging and being with grown men.